Ready? Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 17th. A little bit about the agenda tonight. In a minute, we're going to have the prayer and a pledge, and that'll be followed by 3 recognitions. Following that, we'll go straight to canvassing the election, and then we'll do three separate oaths of office. Senator Colcourse will deliver my oath of office, and then I'll deliver an oath of office for both Jennifer and William. And then we'll have we'll go through the agenda. So at this time, Nishad, you've got the prayer and the pledge.
Will you please bow your head as I pray? Dear God, as we gather here today, let me start by saying thank you. Thank you for the many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of good health, and for friendship. God, we ask that you keep all of our men and women in our armed forces, our first responders, and our healthcare heroes safe. As we enter into these summer months, please keep our children safe as they enjoy our beautiful amenities of our city, and we welcome back all of our college students back to our beautiful city for the summer. God, we also ask that as we swear in Mayor Joe Zimmerman for his final 3-year term, you watch over him and guide him as he leads our wonderful city to much higher standards. Also watch over Mayor Pro Tem Jennifer Lane and at-large City Council member William Ferguson as they enter into 3 more years of leading this wonderful city and our citizens. Please guide the rest of us on council and our staff as we continue to work for the betterment of our citizens first. We ask that you guide us along the right path and keep us under your protection and grace. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening again. Our first recognition is going to be National Public Works Week. And I'm going to ask Mr. Butcher. Everybody's already coming down. They're ready to go. Y'all come on down. And I'm going to ask our Public Works Director, Brian Butcher, to introduce the topic for us. Brian?
Good evening. I'm assuming y'all are all here for National Public Works Week. It's really great to see the big crowd. The City of Sugar Land's Public Works Department has 138 professional men and women who are completely dedicated to providing you quality service in water and wastewater, in streets maintenance, right-of-way mowing, drainage infrastructure management, and traffic. Every year, Mayor, the American Public Works Association identifies the 3rd week in May and celebrates it as National Public Works Week. This is the 62nd year they've done it, so all the way back to the Eisenhower administration. And every year when they do it, they have a theme. This year's theme is Ready and Resilient. And it's a phenomenal theme for a Gulf Coast city and really a phenomenal theme for us in Sugar Land, because what it says is, while we are here every single day, 365, working to get you water, to fix your roads, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, we are also here and we are ready to respond in an emergency. Whether it be high water rescues, sandbags, any of the things that happen during a natural disaster, we also provide significant support in any of the large events that take place here. So I just want to make sure we highlight that while we are here every day, one of the real keys to what we do is whatever we can to make sure that you get back to living your life in the event of a natural disaster. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor, for this year's proclamation.
Thanks, Brian. You know, these are the men and women when we have the Memorial Day floods, the Tax Day floods, Hurricane Harvey, a pandemic. Who'd have thought? These are the men and women that show up every day to make sure that toilets flush, there's water coming out of the faucet, our streets are safe, our drains are unclosed, and they do that without a lot of recognition. And this is one time when we can recognize them for the great work that they do for the citizens of Sugar Land. This is a proclamation for all of you. National Public Works Week, May 15th through the 21st. The year 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. This year's theme is Ready and Resilient, as Brian said, detailing how departments are always ready to serve their communities and are resilient as ever in their abilities to pick themselves up off the ground after encountering challenges. And whereas public works professionals use this week to energize and educate the public on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of Sugar Land. And whereas dedicated public works professionals at all levels are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste system, rights of way, and traffic facilities essential for the well-being of our citizens. And it is the public interest of the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Sugar Land to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective community. And we want to thank you. We want to thank you individually, thank you collectively for what you do for us, not just, every day, but through our disasters, through all the things that we've been through together. We appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Yeah, come. Here, I can get y'all step up a little bit. We'll get council behind you. We'll get her.
Yeah. So it's easy. I think, yeah.
Okay, everyone here, please. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Our second recognition is for National EMS Week, and I'm going to ask Battalion Chief Cindy King to come down here, and I'll let her introduce it. Cindy.
Good evening, Mayor. The 47th Annual EMS Week is rising to the challenge. With that being said, I have a couple of commendations I would like to deliver. The first one is going to be Chain of Survival Commendation. Commendation committee gets together and we decide on these awards. This award is Chain of Survival, awarded to an individual whose pre-hospital diagnosis and treatment is directly attributed to stabilizing the patient's condition prior to arrival at the hospital and with the patient successfully being discharged on their own will. When we got together to discuss these, one of the things that was said was, that's just taking care of the patient, because that's what our crews do. That's what they do on a daily basis. However, I do have one that I would like to bring up. Clint, if you could come up here, please. Clint was the lead paramedic for a patient. Clint was the lead paramedic for a patient that experienced acute heart attack. His early recognition of the heart attack, the early notification to the hospital, and the treatment he provided allowed the patient to obtain a full recovery, and the physician's actually the one that called for follow-up with us. So Clint's quick actions provided that patient survival. Chain of survival actually chain of survival actually starts in the community. If you have a medical emergency, you call 911. Then the dispatchers get questions, have questions, and you answer a series of questions that the dispatcher goes through. And then help is sent. Janika, can you come forward, please? Janika Horton's one of our dispatchers here in Sugar Land. On May 2nd, we had a caller in Sugar Land who witnessed his professor slump over in his virtual class. He only had the professor's name, but he called 911. Janika took the call at 1:55 p.m., cross-referenced the name and address. Then she called and confirmed he was a professor with Harris County Community College System, contacted the appropriate department, and within 15 minutes, EMS was on scene of that call based on her diligence in getting help. Janika not only serves Sugar Land, but more encompassing community in her actions, rising above the challenge to make a difference. She's not in the fire department, but we would still like to recognize that dispatch is a vital part of the organization, and you have the Fire Chief's Award for distinguishing yourselves to help.
Just but two examples of the great personnel that we have both in EMS and dispatch. Go ahead and bring everybody down. We got some more fire, EMS. They're out working. There we go, Cindy. That's the right answer, isn't it? They're out working. Proclamation, Emergency Medical Services Week, May 15th through the 21st of 2022. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and the members of emergency medical services teams are always ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. You guys are busy. And whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine, and where it is appropriate to recognize the value, special skills, and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Thank you all for what you all do.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Last one. One, two, three. Thank you.
I didn't even need to call y'all down there, did I? We now have recognition of 2022 National Police Week. A little bit of background. Police and fire, those are some of the most competitive people I've ever met. So they're always trying to outdo each other. Right now, Eric, I hate to say this, but fire gives better stuff than what y'all have had. Although I did notice a big blanket or a quilt on my desk before I came down. So y'all, hey, you stepped it up. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm going to let Chief Eric Robbins of Sugar Land PD introduce it, and he has with him Assistant Chief Michelle Allen. And Chris, thank you too for coming down.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, hopefully that blanket will keep y'all warm every time you put it on and safe. But you still need to be safe. Thank you, Mayor. This is a somber occasion. Every year during the week of May, we recognize National Police Week across the country, and we mourn the lives of those officers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And we see it across the country, even as recently as just this week, we had an officer up in the Buffalo area who was a retired officer who was killed and paid the ultimate price. And it's not just by gunfire, it's also by traffic accidents. Most recently, we had a very serious accident, and from heroic actions from a couple of officers, they literally saved one of our officers' lives who was involved in that accident. So we mourn the lives who paid the ultimate sacrifice, and we just want to say thank you for your support, council and mayor, for your support, and all our community, because it's a community-wide effort for us to keep our citizens safe, but also our officers safe. So I just want to ask Chief Michelle Allen to talk about what the Sugar Land Police Department is doing to actually memorialize those that's fallen.
Thank you, Chief. So tomorrow morning, we will have a ceremony to honor our fallen officers. As part of the ceremony, we will have a laying of the wreath, the 21-gun salute, and the playing of taps. Now, as Chief Robbins mentioned, we came real close to losing one of our own this year as a result of a tragic vehicle crash. Now, according to the National Law Enforcement Memorial page, the number of officers killed as a result of being struck by a vehicle have increased an extraordinary 93% compared to the previous year, 93%. So I just want to take a moment to remind everybody, please do not drink and drive. And next, when you see those red and blue lights flashing, please move over. Leave a lane open for our officers to conduct their business as safely as possible. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Michelle. I think Officer Munoz he's okay. We also had a recent occurrence, you know, and this is a testimony to the officers. They put their life on the line every day for all of us without even knowing who all of us really are. And here 2 weeks ago, we had some criminals trying to take some catalytic converters. One of our officers was put in danger of his life, and he responded accordingly. 2 of those are still out without being caught. This happens a whole lot more than what people realize, and that's why we recognize them during National Police Week, but it's way beyond that. It's all the time. We appreciate what you all do and how you put your life on the line. Proclamation for National Police Week, May 15th through the 21st. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Police Officers Memorial Day, and a calendar week in which May 15th falls is National Police Week. Established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, National Police Week pays recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas the members of the Sugar Land Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the health, safety, and welfare and the freedoms of our citizens in Sugar Land, and where it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, the duties, and the responsibilities of their police department and that members of the police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting people against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception, oppression, or intimidation. And whereas the Sugar Land Police Department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency that increasingly provides a vital public service, we want to especially recognize you all tonight, but at all times, for the sacrifices that you make with your families, with your loved ones to serve the citizens of Sugar Land and this city council. Thank you all. Eric. William, you can stand by this big guy right here. He falls bigger than you are. Yeah, you. Here, we can go.
Everybody right here, please. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
We're going to move on now to item number 2, public comment. Thomas, do we have anybody signed up?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead and introduce it to the public. We've got item number 2, which is public comment. Anybody that would like to speak on any of the agenda items, which is not a public hearing, are invited to do so. Come down to the podium, name and address. Yes, ma'am, please. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Diana Vargas Lee, 1114 Cary Court, Sugar Land, Texas, 77479. I'd just like to say that we're excited. Don't publish this.
No, you're okay. You're fine.
And on the behalf of the mountain bikers, we're really excited for William Ferguson. He's been one of our biggest supporters, and we're proud of him and willing to work with him another 3 years.
Well, I'm glad because you elected him for another 3 years. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Vargas. You got a fan club, William. That's one. Is there anyone else? We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. We're going to move on to item number 3, canvass the election. 3A, first and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land ordinance number 2265. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of an election held on May 7th, 2022, to elect a mayor and 2 at-large council members. Well, hold on. We got to read the ordinance first. I'm getting everybody excited here. Ordinance number 2265, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of an election held on May 7th, 2022, to elect a mayor and 2 at-large council members. Whereas on February the 15th, 2022, the City Council approved ordinance number 2256, ordering an election to be held on May 7th, 2022, for the purpose of electing a mayor and 2 at-large council members. And whereas notice the election was given as required by law, and returns of the election have been made by the proper officers and canvassed by the City Council, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, Section 1, the election held on May 7, 2022. The following votes were cast for the following candidates. Mayor, 6,915 votes. Council at Large, Position 1, William Ferguson, 5,808. Larry LeBeau, 1,226. Council at Large, Position 2, Jennifer Lane, 3,975. Scott Schultz, 1,230. Farah Ahmed, 2,701. The following persons are declared to have been elected to the following offices. Mayor Joe R. Zimmerman. Council at Large, Position 1, William Ferguson. Council at Large, Position 2, Jennifer Lane. This is adopted on first and final consideration May 17, 2022, in compliance with Section 2.09A(2) of the city charter. Now, Stuart, you can make a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Jacobson, second by Kermali. If you'll all vote at this time, please. It better be unanimous. Congratulations, council members. Let me get everything recorded here. Item number 4, oath of office. 4A, administer the oath of office to elected mayor, council member at large, position 1, and council member at large, position 2. We've got a special guest with us tonight. Senator Lois Kolkhorst is going to administer my oath of office. This is my 4th term. Lois, you join.
So before I do this, I want to say what an honor it is to be here tonight, and I'm so honored that Mayor Zimmerman, who I've worked with since I was able to be elected by the people to serve in Senate District. Thank you so much. A senator without a microphone is no senator at all. And I will just say this, that in redistricting, I've been able to pick up more of the city of Sugar Land. And to all of you driving here today with my husband, you know it's an important event when Jimmy Kolkhorst is with us, Mayor. And, you know, Jimmy and I were driving into the city of Sugar Land, and we just commented about how beautiful it is. And it's a beautiful place. And it's not the buildings that make it beautiful. It's the people that make it beautiful. And so to those of you that seek office, thank you for doing that. For those of you that we've recognized today that serve the citizens, God bless you. Thank you for giving of your time, as the mayor says, sacrificing your life. And my gosh, I know she's already left, but finding a professor through a database and working to save that life, really incredible. And I think Mayor is just absolutely what we have in the state of Texas come to appreciate about the city of Sugar Land. And so it comes with stature to be a senator from the city of Sugar Land, and I take that very seriously. And so when you called and left me that voicemail, I'll never forget, I listened that morning. I knew I had another meeting, and I said, we're going to move heaven and earth to be there for Mayor Zimmerman. So let's do this with the Zimmerman family. Yeah. Okay. All right, Mayor. I, Joe Richard Zimmerman,
I, Joe Richard Zimmerman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of mayor
the duties of the office of mayor
of the city of Sugar Land
of the city of Sugar Land
County of Fort Bend,
County of Fort Bend,
State of Texas.
State of Texas.
And I will, to the best of my ability,
And I will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state
and of this state
and the Charter
and the Charter
and ordinance of this city.
and the ordinances of this city.
And I furthermore solemnly swear
And I furthermore solemnly swear,
that I have not directly or indirectly
solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
contributed, or promised to contribute any money or valuable thing,
any money or valuable thing,
or promised any public office
or promised any public office
or employment as a reward to secure my appointment
as a reward to secure my appointment
or the confirmation thereof,
or the confirmation thereof.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Let's do one more. She does deserve it. Now we're gonna get my other stuff.
Chris, you and Allison come down, please.
And I'm gonna get out of this one.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
And then I'm gonna let y'all do it.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
We'll take a quick moment of privilege. You know, it's been an extraordinary experience to be y'all's mayor. It's been 6 years. It's a real privilege and it's an honor to serve the citizens of Sugar Land. It's a privilege and an honor to work with our staff and our management team. Mike, you and your team. Definitely one of the highlights in my entire career, and I've been in a lot of different places. It's a privilege to serve the people of Sugar Land. And I look forward, we've got a lot of stuff to do. Council knows we've had many a retreat. We've got 3 years left to accomplish a lot of things. And all that will be done realizing and recognizing that the people come first, and it's the people that matter. And now I'm going to ask Jennifer Lane. Jennifer, would you please come down? Jennifer Lane's in the at-large position 2, which is the position that I had when I first joined City Council, so this is kind of a special moment too. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the City of Sugar Land, County of Fort Bend, State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, and the Charter and ordinances of the city. And I furthermore solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment or the confirmation thereof, so help me God.
There. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3.
One more, ready? 1, 2.
Okay, see, my brother, I never do this, right? So he never did it. Yes, sir.
I
William Ferguson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of
Sugar Land at-large 1,
of the City of Sugar Land,
City of Sugar Land,
County of Fort Bend, State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve,
my ability to preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and the charter and ordinances of the city.
and the charters and ordinances of this city.
And I furthermore solemnly swear
Furthermore, solemnly swear
that I have not directly
that I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
or indirectly paid,
offered,
offered,
or promised to pay,
or promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute any money
or promised to contribute any money
or valuable thing, or promised any public office
or promised any public office
or employment
or employment
as a reward to secure my appointment or the confirmation thereof, so help me God.
confirmation thereof, so help me God.
Don't run off.
You're getting the picture.
Hello. Oh, thank you all for being here. I want to thank God, first of all, for my spirituality, my calling to be a servant to the public and to my fellow man. I want to thank my dad and my stepmom for always loving and supporting me. And my boys for getting involved in the campaign and being involved in everything that I do and behaving as best as I can. And for my colleagues, Mayor Zimmerman, my colleagues on council that have supported us to stay together as we embark upon the next few years of Sugar Land and everything that we're going to do. All of the community leaders community members, neighbors, elected officials, that, was with me on the campaign trail. Thank you so much. My circle has definitely quadrupled during this time. And for the city employees, our city manager, our employees on the front lines, thank you so much for everything that you do. All the employees of Sugar Land. We all know that the tone set at the top of the city starts with the mayor and the city council, and that tone trickles down throughout the whole organization. And these are the people that serve our city, so that's extremely important. So we're really looking forward to everything that's to come for the city of Sugar Land, and thank you all for being here today.
I should never have to follow Jennifer. Probably the most important thing is my gratitude for the patience, if I may, of the mayor and of council, because this has been one of the most humbling experiences of my life. In spite of the years of wearing a badge to protect this county, I love this city so much. And the last year and a half of serving with this council and seeing what we're able to do for every single member of our community is humbling at best. And I can't thank anyone more than my mom, who came up here tonight, reluctantly, I might say. Mom, thank you for making me into the guy that I am today. And I love you. And to my wife and my daughter who is here and all of my dear friends, I will never stop fighting for you. And if I have never met you before, I will fight for you to the end, because we all have a place at the table in Sugar Land, and that is the way it will be as long as this team is in front. Love you guys. Fight for Texas always, and God bless Sugar Land.
Okay, everyone ready for this? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, his other family wants to take a picture with him. I know.
Come on. This is your chance. We gotta get in here. Kara, where are you going? Come on. Come on. What did you watch, dude?
You know he's gonna hit you.
I know.
You get in the middle of it all. You guys ready to smile? Be serious for a minute. Okay, now one maybe not so serious. Come on. Thank you.
No.
Stories of dating.
We're going to go ahead and take a brief recess, and then we'll reconvene in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and reconvene. Item number 5, consent agenda. Everything on the consent agenda will be taken as one item unless a council member wants to pull that item, in which case we'll hear a presentation on that one item. We'll take it separately. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? A motion by Kamali, second by Watley. You'll vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 6, public hearing 6A. Public hearing, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on the proposed adoption of guidelines and criteria governing tax abatement agreements in the city of Sugar Land under Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. We have with us Alba Bonatti-Johnson, Business Development Manager. Alba?
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Today I will be presenting resolution number 22-21, adopting tax abatement guidelines for our city. Tax abatement guidelines are required by Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code to create reinvestment zones and to enter into tax abatement agreements. The guidelines must be renewed every 2 years, and the current guidelines were approved on May 5th, 2020, and took effect May 20th, 2020. Within the proposed guidelines, to be eligible for an abatement, a project would need to include either real property within regional and neighborhood activity centers, improvements that include specific repairs to an existing building, personal property, or projects within our target business or industries. Stemming from our workforce and target industry analysis done by Ernst & Young, these 5 industry clusters are recommended for future targeting efforts and build upon the city's existing key sectors in order to leverage aligned opportunities for additional employment growth and capital investment. They are advanced manufacturing, business and professional services, life sciences, information technology, and tourism. In regard to tax abatements, tourism will not be included in the tax abatement guidelines since the city has created the tourism industry with our destination venues and other projects, and it will be continued to be supported through our Visit Sugar Land program. Here I have listed ineligible projects for tax abatements in accordance with Tax Code 312 that include land, real property used primarily to provide retail sales or services to the public, unless such property is part of a mixed-use project located within a regional or neighborhood activity center, and any other property for which abatement is not allowed by state law. In order to be qualified for a tax abatement, projects would be required to have an added value on improvements in personal property of at least $4 million. Projects could also have improvements in personal property be used by a targeted business or industry. The city has experienced success in speculative projects, so we have also included them in the structure above for a tax abatement incentive. In order to be qualified for a tax abatement, speculative projects would also be required to have an added value of at least $4 million. Speculative building projects will primarily target corporate office headquarters, research and development, technical centers, manufacturing, or logistic use buildings. The percent abatement is guided by the tiered structure shown above, and additional abatements can occur upon achieved LEED certification. Other factors considered and not yet mentioned are the type, value, and productive life of the property to be abated, number of jobs, and payroll. In summary, the proposed guidelines meet the requirements of Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code and have been reviewed by the Economic Development Committee. The guidelines also encourage new growth, new development, and new jobs. They will also give us a competitive advantage as we enter the redevelopment phase that aligns with our 2-year strategic plan and maximizes the available greenfield space we have in our strategic areas like Central Unit and Track 5. Staff recommends approval of resolution number 22-21, adopting the tax abatement guidelines, and if needed, changes can be made within the next 2 years and are permitted by state law. Any changes would require a 3/4 vote of the City Council. Are there any questions?
Alba, let's do this. Let's open the public hearing. Okay. And then once we're finished with public hearing, then I'll open it up for questions. This time we're going to open the public hearing. perceive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on the proposed adoption of guidelines and criteria governing tax abatement agreements in the city of Sugar Land under Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code. Anyone that would like to speak on this particular item, please approach the podium, name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
We have no
Anybody?
signed up in advance, Mayor.
Nobody signed up?
No, sir.
Second call. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Resolution Number 2221, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, adopting guidelines and criteria governing tax abatement agreements in the City of Sugar Land under Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code to be effective on May 20th, 2022. Any questions, council members? Got a motion by McCutcheon. Do I have a second? Second by Lane. You vote this time, please.
Thank you.
And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 7, contracts and agreements. 7A, consideration of an action on authorization of change order number 1 to a construction contract with WadeCon LLC in the amount of $823,219.26 for the completion of additional storm pavement and water line items for Sugar Creek drainage improvements, Montclair Phase 1 CIP CDR 2102. We have Guillermo Salcedo, our Senior Engineering Manager. Guillermo.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Tonight for your consideration is the Sugar Creek change order number 2. It's the Phase 1, the Montclair project was approved through year bond in 2019. The Phase 1, which is currently under construction, was $4.8 million, and Phase 2, which is scheduled construction, and FY24 is about $4 million. City Council approved the construction of Phase 1 with Wacom for the amount of $3,293,698 back in October 2020. And the Montclair project is a little background. We're installing about 2,100 linear feet of storm sewer. That storm sewer range from 18 inches in diameter to 12 by 6 concrete boxes that include inlet and manhole, a full replacement of existing pavement, and a replacement of 1,372 linear feet of water and 233 linear feet of sanitary sewer. The project, the Phase 1, is about 75% completed at this time. And the scope of work for this, we're moving some of that portion that we had on for FY24 for that Phase 2 to the Phase 1 that's currently under construction. And they will be installing about 400 linear feet of sanitary storm sewers at the range for 3 by 5 and 12 by 6 concrete boxes. That including inlets and manholes, the replacement of approximately 1,100 square yards of existing pavement, and the replacement of 1,300 linear feet of water line. These would add a contract dates of about 120 days of the contract, the current contract that we got now. And there's a map here I'm going to show you. So the current Phase 1 is what you can see in red right now. Again, that's about 75% completed. The section in yellow is what the Phase 2 is. It's scheduled, like I said, for FY24, the construction. It's already done, the design is done. And this is the portion that we're trying to add for this change order. Again, it takes some out of the Phase 2 to move it to Phase 1. Now the benefits. This is great. We have, as you know, we have a cost increase since 2020, okay? The change order is beneficial because utilize the same prices that we locked in Phase 1 contract. We reduce the cost of the Phase 2, and that remaining portion that is scheduled for FY24. The project funded the original budget for the Montclair project CDR 2102 is $4.5 million. The awarded contract to WadeCon about $3.2 million. The funds available is about $1 million, and the total funds for this change order is $823,219.26. That staff recommend that the City Council authorize the execution of a change order number 1 with WadeCom LLC for the Sugar Creek Drainage Improvement Clear Project Phase 1 project CIP CDR 2102, and the amount of $823,219.26. And with that, I will answer any questions that you guys might have.
Questions of Guillermo? Michelle?
Guillermo, thank you for the presentation. The 2024 project has $4 million budgeted, right?
That's correct.
And so by us removing 800 and whatever thousand,
$823,000 by Haven.
that $4 million stays there though, right?
That's
We're
correct.
not asking for additional money here. We're utilizing the current budget that we have.
That's correct. We're moving that money that is now in phase two. We're taking advantage of those prices on phase one to kind of take some of that burden from phase two construction costs.
And so phase two in 2024 will come in significantly under budget unless we decide to do more?
That's what we expect. That's what the budget is, the $4 million. Again, we have seen some prices
Prices
change.
go back.
Right, yeah, that's right. But I want to commend you and WadeCon for doing a very good job of bringing forward another major portion of drainage. Mayor, I have no further questions. This is amazing.
Okay. Suzanne?
Thank you, Guillermo. Again, a great job on finding additional funding. My question is, are we depleting year FY21 by doing this? How far are we in the project? You said 75%?
Yeah, that's 75% completed.
So what's left on the project? Is this 823 going to finish the entire project plus what we're doing?
Correct. So we have the budget, the original budget. We're not touching the original budget for construction that we have in phase one. This actually, we take some of the money that we had saving when we did this project. We saved some money, so that money was scheduled for phase two.
Right.
We're moving into phase one since we're taking advantage of the lot.
Suzanne, I
prices.
think what she's asking, Guillermo, this is for additional work.
Yeah.
So this is additional work to
Right.
be added on to an amendment to the contract for additional work that was in phase two, and now they're just going to do it in phase one because of the pricing.
Can we do more?
I wish that's the maximum that we can.
Jesse can probably answer that one.
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, we answer your question, what happened, just like Mayor explained, we have a big project in Sugar Creek, total about $9 million. So originally in the GO bond, we broke into two phases, phase one and phase two. Phase one currently under construction, and we bid phase one in the peak of pandemic, 2020, later part of 2020. We got really good price, although the budget is $4 million, $4.2 million, and the price came in is about only 3.2, so we saved $1 million in phase one. So what we're currently doing, we're trying to use the saving in phase one to do the phase two work. And so we were able to do, exhaust all the balances, all the savings we have in phase one to do a portion phase two. So we can reduce the future financial burden for phase two because the construction cost increases drastically from the past couple of years.
And that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart?
Thank you, Mayor. As this is a District 3 project, soon to be the driest district in the city, I move that we approve.
Got a motion by Jacobson, second by McCutcheon. Vote this time, please. There we go. 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members.
Thank you.
Item number 8, City Council City Manager reports. I'm going to ask that we defer this till our next council meeting. Everybody okay with that? Let's go to item number 9, closed executive session 9A. Closed executive session is authorized by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with 551-087. Deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. At this time, we're going to recess and we'll reconvene in the council dining room.